Okay, let me go live. All right. Okay, I think I am set up. And I want to talk about mindset today. All right, we're going to talk about mindset around sales. Right. We are live in both programs. All right. So if you are watching this or if you're watching this in the replay, I super appreciate you showing up for this discussion. It's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes once I get started. And I want to talk about the way we look at lead generation and the way we handle our business in a structure or in a financial sense. Right. And I want to have this discussion based mostly around this idea about leads. Right. So in my Facebook group and on the Facebook page and on my personal page, I asked this question. Right? I had an artist reach out to me to um, and told me that they get 30 to 50 emails per week, and 99% of those people who reach out are looking for cheap prints, right? So how does this guy generate 30 to 50 emails per week, right? Before we get to that, we had in our Facebook group, which is linked if you're watching this on YouTube below, or if you're watching this in our Facebook group, just leave a comment on either of these posts and I'll get back to you. I had like 20 comments over here on Facebook, and on my personal Facebook page, I asked the same question, and I had about 50 or 60 comments asking about or giving feedback. What would I say to this guy who gets 30 to 50 emails per week? Now, the person who asked me this has about 500,000 Facebook follows or Instagram followers. So that's like 494,000 people follow him on Facebook or Instagram, and that generates organically 30 to 50 emails about buying his artwork. And they're looking for cheap prints. 99% of them are looking for cheap prints. So I asked, what would you say to them? And if we go through these comments, can I make this bigger? If we go through these comments, people are saying, hey, if you're interested, stop. If they're interested, stop complaining. That it's amazing that they're getting 30 to 50 emails per week. What is the strategy to find high-end collectors? This is the closest to the correct answer of what I said to this person. This person right here says, make prints in that price range and then upsell afterward. Okay, we can talk about that. How cheap and how many? I'll sell prints if I make money. And this is basically the answer that I got from a lot of people is just sell cheap prints if you have that many people looking for cheap prints. Because if you do the math, 30 to 50 is 120 to 200 emails per month looking for a cheap print. So if you're selling $100 print, then you could be making thousands of dollars a month selling cheap, whatever you consider cheap, pieces of art. But what if that is not your business model? For instance, I don't sell anything under $3,000. Like that's pretty much the bottom line. So I get inquiries often, and people ask me for inexpensive pieces, or they get mad at me because my pieces are too expensive, and I just say, sorry, my work's not for you, right? But changing my business model would be interrupting the integrity of my art business if I were just to try to suffice or just to try to uh, facilitate all of these low ticket emails. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling low ticket, and there's nothing wrong with selling high ticket. It just depends on the kind of art you make and the type of art you want to sell, right? Who do you want your audience to be? Now, a lot of the other comments that I got in here were he's marketing to the wrong people. And perhaps that might be a little bit true, but when you start getting into audience sizes that are in the hundreds of thousands, you don't have as much control over who you're targeting because you're just growing hyper organically. Now, he could be, and he is, I did look at his page, presenting his work as a high-end product. Right. So he does he shows his work in frames. He shows his work produced largely. I think he shows it in really nice homes, the type of collector's home that he wants to sell to, and et cetera, et cetera. So he's doing the right things there. But again, everything is organic right now for him. And it is not specifically who he's targeting as much as who is reaching out to him for his art. Okay, so in all these in all these ideas that people have shared so far, they basically boil down to sell cheap art so you can capitalize on these people, right? Because 99% of his leads are the wrong lead. They're looking for artwork that is not in the price range that he is selling his work for. So this is really important, and I really want people to understand my perspective on this whole situation. High ticket sales have a close rate of about 1.7% across all industries. So whether you're selling high-end cars like Mercedes, or luxury cars like Mercedes and Beamers or what have you, or if you're selling jewelry, or if you're selling Rolex watches, or if you're selling luxury bedding for your home, right? It doesn't matter. You have basically a 1.7% close rate on those sales. So for every 100 people who roll in asking for exquisite linens for their home or high-end furniture, you get about 1.5 sales. You get one sale. So for every 200, you get in 2 or 3 sales. Now, with that in mind, he's getting 99% of people who are unqualified, but he's getting 1% of people who are qualified and are looking to spend the right amount of money, or the amount of money he's asking for his art. So when he said this to me, this is what he said. I'm getting all these emails, but they're looking for cheap prints. What I heard is that all he's got to do is answer 30 to 50 emails per week to sell one high-end piece. Right? Did you see how different that is? He's focused on the 99% of rejections, and all of these people are focused on the 99% rejections, when what we should be focusing on is the 1% who are ready to buy our work. Right? And here's like the thing. Like, if I were to sit down at a table with 2 people, and one of them is an artist and the other one is just someone who sells stuff, and I were to tell them that they have to answer 99 or 100 emails in order to make one sale, and if they're willing to answer 99 emails or 99 phone calls, they'll get one sale a week. The artist will say, hell no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk to 100 people and only sell one piece. And the salesman will say, where can I sit? Show me the phone. Do I get earbuds, or do I have to, so it's a huge mindset divergence between whether or not, or how you want to work for your money. Okay. The art part is the art part, right? That's you being creative. That's you feeling in your element. That's you getting in your feelings and then creating a product. And then you have to sell that product. So if you're going to sit down and say, I don't want to take 99 sales calls or 100 sales calls or answer 100 emails every week in order to make a living, then someone else is going to do it. Right? I get about 40 to 50 inquiries per week through the lead magnet that I run for my art business. And most of them are not qualified. Most of them ghost me. Right? And I have a thing that's coming out soon to help people with ghosting of in contacts. But a lot of them ghost me, and then the 1% buy their work. So all I have to do to increase my sales is increase the number of leads I get. And then I have to talk to all those people, right? And you can shortcut, or you can make it a bit easier for yourself by creating automations, and by creating nurturing email sequences, and by just having a process that you go through to figure out whether or not the people who are showing up in your inbox are really potential buyers or if they're bad leads. But the point is that there's 2,500 artists in our Facebook group, right? 2,500 artists. And then there's 3,000 people following me on my own personal Facebook page, right? Let me go to and just share some of the comments that were on this group. Yeah, and there wasn't a single artist in any of the comments on any of my platforms who looked at this and said, oh, but 1% are qualified buyers. Okay. But this is where the money is. This is where your career has a chance to flourish, is by capitalizing on the 1 to 3% of people who are going to be interested in your artwork, who are potential buyers. Okay. That's all I got for you today. I just want you to think about that and realize that as a salesperson for your business, right? You are the sales rep for your art business. Your job is to find your way through the mire that is all of the people who are interested and love your work, which is it's a beautiful mire, right? People love your work. That's a beautiful thing. And then finding the people who are going to be qualified buyers. Okay. So that's it for today. That's my whole spiel. If you have any questions about this or any comments, leave that in the comments, whether on YouTube or on Facebook, and I will help clear anything that that you find relative to this topic. All right. Cheers.